Hello, AR community. We are excited to be with you today to talk about our newest integration partner with AR Pay, which is Affirm. So you guys have heard of Affirm, I'm sure, either using it personally or hearing about it in your business or with Shopify or anywhere that you shop, probably in the whole country. You've heard about Affirm, you know what it is, and we are so thrilled to have it inside of AR as of today. We are working with our partner at Stripe to make this very easy for you, seamless, no friction, no red tape. It's going to be on for you automatically, and you can just start using it ASAP. So we're going to go through today really the whole breadth of Affirm, what it offers you as a client, both for you as a practice and for your patients, and how easy it is to get started and to start hopefully increasing those invoice values and getting patients to come in to use your services because they can use Affirm as well. As we go through our presentation, we're going to be answering your questions, and we'll be putting those in the chat. So make sure that if you have a question, either use the chat function or the Q&A function. We'll get those answered for you. And if we can't get them answered for you, we'll come back and circle back around and make sure you have an answer before you go live with Affirm. So make sure you send us your questions in the chat. We have with us today the Director of Client Success, Sarah Garrigan from Affirm. She's going to go through the state of the BNPL industry, what's happening right now, buy now, pay later, all the benefits of Affirm, and also to go through at the very end with me, how to use this inside of a static record, where to find it, how to get it turned on, toggled on, make sure everything's ready to go so that when your first patient comes in to use Affirm, you're good to go. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Sarah. Come on to our webinar here and give us some of your Affirm knowledge. Welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks for the introduction, Tiffany. It's been so fun getting to work with you guys to really get this partnership up and running. And so I'm super excited today to talk your guys' clients through just really the state of BNPL, really what Affirm brings for both the customers as well as your guys' customers as well as the end clients. And yeah, I'd love to jump into all of the content. And I just want to add on that our team is here to get everything up and running, but we'll continue to support the aesthetic records relationship. So think of us as your partners also.
Well, before we kick off, Sarah, you've been to med spa, I'm sure, to medical spa. So you've been a patient at some point in your life. You know what it's like. And I'm sure you have lots of clients in your world that are already in the med spa world. So just from a gut feeling, how successful is this in our industry right now?
So I am actually so excited to have Affirm in more med spas and just more broadly available. Healthcare is actually a space that we've been really, really maximizing and underwriting in for over 7 years, but it's been growing astronomically, I would say, over the past few years. And I personally know that I actually use my Affirm card at my med spa right now because they don't actually have Affirm integrated. And so the more integrations we have and the more availability in the med spa space really help users like me and users like all of your guys' customers.
Yeah, well, you're going to give us all the details. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll pull up the screen here and kick this thing off.
Perfect. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm going to go through just the state of BNPL and, where BNPL exists today. I'll talk through a little bit about truly what Affirm is in case anyone's unfamiliar with it, really what it can provide your guys' customers, give you a preview of the customer experience, and then we'll go into some of the partnership details. All right, so BNPL a few years ago was just an option, kind of as customers were checking out. But over the past few years, BNPL has grown and become almost an expectation of a customer to have this option when they're checking out, whether that's buying a couch or whether that is paying for their Botox every 3 months. And so what we are so excited about is that BNPL is continuing to grow. So the expectation is that BNPL grows by almost 300% by 2027. And so you can just think about how important this is to have for your customers as an option to check out. And what we've been learning really about customers is that almost 50% of those making purchases have used BNPL. And over 55% of, large clients, large retailers, anyone who really is taking purchases are offering BNPL as an option. So consumers are familiar with this as an option. And we've just really learned that it's important for customers to have different options when they're paying. And one of the key things that we want to emphasize here is giving your customers the option to pay is important. So a lot of customers don't want to use credit cards anymore. They want an alternate option to be able to make their payments. And that's really what Affirm can bring to the table. And what we want to double click here is that it's a lot of millennials and Gen Zers who really don't want to use credit cards anymore. They want that optionality when they're making their purchases. And that's really where Affirm comes through and becomes a very important part of your customer's experience as they're checking out. All right, so what's in it for you guys to really offer BNPL? I think that is incredibly important for us to make sure that we double click on. And so Stripe has actually done a study about how much offering BNPL can really help your conversion. And so the conversion uplift that you can really expect does everything from help increase your sales volume. So there, within this study, it showed that over 66% of purchases were only made because BNPL was offered. We also know everybody's focused on increasing revenue. The study showed a 14% increase in revenue by really, really focusing on higher AOVs coming through, so that customer just being more comfortable, maybe purchasing a package instead of just purchasing a singular service. So overall, more conversion, happier customers, more sales, all the things that we want to bring to you. All right, so we've talked a little bit about the state of BNPL, but what is Affirm? Why is it different? What's the customer journey look like? So we're going to spend a little time talking about that. So Affirm, our real focus here is delivering flexible financing for the modern checkout. And so we are a transparent way for customers to pay. We do not charge late fees. We do not have any hidden fees. We have no compounding interest. When a customer chooses to use Affirm, there's no impact to their credit to apply. We have flexible options, so it's not just one size fits all. And then lastly, we're pretty broadly available for purchases all over $50. And so it's just a new way for customers to pay instead of just using a standard checkout of a credit card or a debit card. Double clicking on really why Affirm is different is there are no late fees, there's no deferred interest, no hard credit checks, no compounding interest, and no fine print. We are really a product that is built to make sure customers are confident in what they're purchasing at that time and really help you all drive conversion with your customers. All right, so how does Affirm work? It's integrated at checkout. It's an option for your guys' customers. And once a customer chooses to use Affirm, they then get their flexible payment options. And so based on what the customer is purchasing and what the customer qualifies for, they can get anything from a pay in 4 option through different interest-free monthly payments or monthly payments with interest. The merchants are paid up front. We deal with everything else on the back end. So once the customer chooses to pay with Affirm, we manage all of their payments. For you all, it's just like they made a singular payment. The other thing that's really great about Affirm is it does not take time. They do not have to go through a long approval process. They're able to really understand their approval relatively instant, and it's a quick, seamless checkout experience for your customers. All right, so we know that when we say there's different payment options for customers, we know that there are choices. So why Affirm? Why are we the best option for your customer? And we'll point back to the reason our company was built. We were built as a company that was focused on building honest financial products that improve lives. And we have stayed anchored on this mission. And this is what we bring to your practice and your guys' consumers by offering Affirm. So another reason that Affirm is really the best option to go for when it comes to flexible payments is we have very broad reach. So we have almost 400,000 clients utilizing Affirm today. So your customers are familiar with Affirm. They see Affirm different places. They see us at Amazon, at Target, at Dick's Sporting Goods, but also places like Michael's and Pottery Barn. And while that's not as relevant for your space, it helps the brand really be just a well-known name and something familiar for your guys' customers to purchase with. But what's really important is how we've been impacting the healthcare space. So within healthcare, so including med spas and anything really elective medical, over this past year, we've seen almost 100% growth within this space. So it's showing that more and more customers want to utilize flexible payment options and especially Affirm for these type of purchases that you're offering your customers. We've been in the space for 7 years. And so we've been underwriting these type of transactions for a while. We're best in class at doing it, and we're able to really support the customers based on the purchases that they need to make. And we are relatively well known in the space. So over 30,000 of our current clients and users are sitting in the healthcare and med spa space. So your guys' customers have seen us before. So it's great to bring Affirm to your guys' practice as well. All right. So when we double click on elective medical, we know that elective medical treatments are in high demand, but they're oftentimes out of reach. When it comes to these type of purchases, we actually found that over 3/4 of customers choose to not purchase these type of treatments because they're just out of reach based on not being able to afford the services. So it's really what we want to bring to your guys' customers, the ability to purchase these with confidence. And the second thing we want to emphasize here is of those customers, if they had this option to pay, 44% of them would have actually chosen to move forward with these elective medical procedures. So really a great fit in the space. So Affirm makes healthcare financing easier. And so a few of the things we want to anchor on here are your guys' customers are able to qualify in real time. They're able to select their payment plan. They will know exactly what they'll owe. They'll never get hit with a fee again later. They will know in that very moment how much they're paying. And then they'll have the option to pay over time, whereas you guys are getting your guys' payments made in full. All right, lastly, we want to anchor on the Affirm advantage here. So we have the experience. We have 13 years of underwriting overall. We do more than just offer a customer the option to pay in 4. Market leaders trust us. We're always innovating with our huge customers like Shopify, Amazon, and Apple, and our network delivers. We have a ton of Affirm card users. We have exposure to 75% of the e-commerce US retailers, and so we have the reach. And now we want to talk through the customer experience. All right, so what you have here is the actual AR experience. And so when a customer is checking out, they have the option to choose to pay with Affirm. Once the customer selects this, they are able to add the tip and then move to the full Affirm experience. So I want to call out that this will adjust to the Affirm experience. It will move kind of to a new screen. So we do want to call that out. The customer will enter a few basic pieces of information if they are signing up for Affirm. If they're already an Affirm user, they'll actually get to skip these steps. And then what will happen is the customer will receive their payment plan and their payment options. And so the customer is able to weigh whether they want to pay in 4 or they want to pay over 3 months, potentially over 6 months. These terms will look different based on the exact purchase that the customer is making. And then once the customer selects these options, they'll move to the screen, they'll confirm their payment option, and they'll be notified that their purchase is complete. And so once the customer is checked out, they will redirect, obviously back to the aesthetic records checkout. They won't stay in Affirm, and so they will go back. And then everything beyond that is the relationship that is managed between Affirm and the customer. So they'll be able to track their loan progress and manage all of their payments in the Affirm app. And I think I'm going to hand it back over to Tiffany to talk through more of the experience with the aesthetic records platform.
So yeah, let's talk about our partnership with Affirm. So I think there's a couple things that you guys will want to know. As you think about this launching, it's going to be turned on automatically for you. So if you have Stripe as part of your AARP experience, you're going to have Affirm available on day 1, minute 1. So you can start using it ASAP, as long as your patient obviously qualifies for Affirm. That's one part of it too, is you can want them to have Affirm all you want, but the patient has to actually qualify and be able to get financing through Affirm. So if for any reason they don't have an option or they have an unfavorable option for them, you can't control that, I can't control that. It's just, that's the way that that's the way the cookie crumbles, as they say, because it is going to be really part of their credit and their financial situation, not so much yours. So we're going to give it to you, and then at that point, the patient has to be able to get the financing. But I think what you mentioned, Sarah, about we've got 3/4 of patients who don't get treatments because they're waiting for an option like this. I think if you're in a practice today thinking, how do I increase revenue, get folks in the door, lead gen, this is a solution that will be perfect for that. I think anything that gives a patient a chance to get what they want today and then pay over time is always a great idea. I use it for many things in my life. So I think it's a really great lead gen solution too. So it's a competitive advantage, but it's also very easy to use. So I'm going to walk you through how it looks inside of aesthetic record, what you can do to make it simple for your staff. The cool thing about this, unlike some of our other partners, is if you are part of Affirm as a patient, you're part of Affirm. It doesn't have to be part of AR's Affirm or part of our link that you get specifically for AR. If a patient has Affirm, they have Affirm, and they can use it here. When they apply for Affirm, they're applying for Affirm as a company, not just for your practice Affirm. So it's much more mobile or transient, if you will, than maybe some of our other partners. And they also know the name. I think part of it is they know who Affirm is. Like you mentioned, Sarah, there's a million vendors who are using it. Everyone's used Affirm at some point. There's a lot of recognition there, so I think it does give great credibility for you as a practice because you have it and they know what it is, and it's much easier to be like, huh, I know what that thing is, I'll try that. Or they've used it before in their, a different purchase, in a prior time. So there's a lot that you can unpack with Affirm, and I think being able to market that to your clients is a huge benefit. But again, it's also very easy for you to use. So I'm going to walk you through on the web. I've already tried a procedure on an iPad, but I'm going to check out on the web because it just looks better for you as an at-home watcher. So we'll go ahead and flip over to this. And if you look at your POS, if you're not the main admin, you probably know that you can't go in and toggle things on and off, but if you are the main admin, you can. But ideally, it's on and you're going to keep it on, so no big deal. But I'll walk through that in just a second as well. So I have here a procedure that I came in to get. I have a little invoice here, and I just barely make the threshold. I'm at $50, I think, or $50.01 or something. So barely enough to get Affirm. But again, there are going to be some minimums there you need to have in order to use Affirm. You don't want to do a financing option for like $25. So think about these as like higher ticket AOV, higher invoice amounts, where you're hopefully driving a bigger purchase. But if you're on the web doing this in the checkout screen, you're going to go to take payment. On the iPad, very similar. You'll see, of course, your payment window here. And so all you're going to want to do here is just choose Affirm. So as you go through and you select your method, you'll see a list, as you always do here. You'll see Affirm about midway through. Click on that. Confirm you have the right email and phone number. So I think there is a combination of sorts that Affirm needs to see also. So if they're using an email with you that's maybe not what they've used with Affirm, or the phone number is really wonky and not the same, it may not connect the account. So ideally, phone number is the same. Use the same one all the time. But if they don't, that might be why they say it's not, it's not finding my regular Affirm. That could be why, I'm assuming. But many of us have an app on our phone for Affirm, so it may connect to that too. But ideally, you go here, put it all in, everything is correct and appropriate, hit continue. They can put their tip in, as Sarah mentions. I'll put my little tip in here. At this point, I can go ahead and apply that, meaning I'm going to send a text-to-pay link to the patient. So the patient is not obviously on your iPad, right? They're using their own phone for this. So if I hit apply, I'm going to go ahead and at that point, on their phone, they're going to get the note saying, I've requested, a payment from them from Affirm. So at that moment, they'll click on that link and they'll start the whole Affirm process. And I do have the Affirm process in the video to show you how fast it is if you guys want to take a look at that. But it'll help you go through from start to finish. I think it's maybe a minute or so, maybe less. They can go from I want to get Affirm all the way through to I've been approved, chosen my package, hit complete, and we're back in AR saying that it's finished. So I'm going to flip over and show you that real briefly here. Okay, so imagine I just did my checkout. They get the thing on their phone. So they're logging in using their phone number again. So very fast, there is an OTP code here, so there's some security that you can make sure that you know who's getting the things. And part of this is powered by Stripe too, so all the same Stripe things that we rely on for our safe payments. So processing, just like Sarah mentioned in her slides, again, very fast. And the plans are going to change based on the amount, obviously. I'm going to go once a month for 6 months. That's what I would choose, but we have auto pay choices. So again, if you've used this as a patient yourself or a consumer yourself, you know how this works. But I think for patients who are brand new to this, it'll still be a very fast process. Okay, so once you've had your patient go through the whole workflow, they've chosen their selection of whatever they want to do for payment, they've hit the button, they've completed it. When your invoice populates as being completed, you'll see now a patient payment type from Affirm. So you'll have Affirm on the actual invoice. They'll know that it's an Affirm payment. And then as you go back into Business Insights, you'll see now a new item for Affirm, so a new payment type for Affirm and all the processing rates associated with Affirm only on that link. So I'm going to walk you through what that looks like. So in Business Insights, you'll go here in your methods, and you'll see now an item for Affirm here at the bottom. And you'll see we've got our collected total and then also our net collected, so post-processing. And your processing rate for Affirm is 5.1%, and that's a fixed rate. So that is very, very good, below, I think, the market rates for Affirm. So 5.1%, it's a set rate. I think, I've dealt with a lot of BNPL offers, and it's a very, very good rate for you, so definitely take advantage of that. But you'll see it here in your methods. You'll also see it in your sell summary. So if you're in your daily sell summary, you'll be able to see now Affirm is a line item here as well. So if we go into our month, we see now, the bottom here, Affirm. And again, that's post-processing fees, the $104.39. So it's all already ready to go for you inside of your Business Insights, also in your payment selection as you go through and check a patient out. The last place to look, I think it's important to see, is also in your payouts. So if you are in your point of sale here and you go to your POS settings, you'll see, again, it's paid through Stripe. So your typical daily Stripe payments, so they're reconciling through each day and you're getting paid, this will come as part of that. So I'll give you one caveat to that. Right now, if you go into reconciliation, you will not see a method here that says Affirm. Because it's a different processing rate, you will start to see that very soon. It'll give you a specific Affirm option. So you'll be able to see what that looks like versus your other methods. You'll also see across the top now, you'll have Affirm as an option on your dashboard at the top here, where you'll have that as a carve out on that list. So this is not going to be updated when this launches, as of today. It's not there yet, but you'll soon have an option here in the reconciliation report to see Affirm. In the meantime, you can see all of your method information. You can also see business insights information, but for this particular part, it's coming very soon. But the good news is, again, it's already toggled on. No need to do anything with that. If you want to toggle it off, which would be a tragedy, but if you did, it'll be here for your main admin inside the POS settings. You'll be able to see the Affirm button and toggle that off. But don't do that. The one thing I would say is you have a snippet you could also use. So if you are in your Appointments tab and you go to Smart Configurations, when you look at your communication for your patient, there's sort of a generic Affirm snippet you can start to use because, again, it doesn't have to be for your practice only. It's like Affirm in general. So if you're in your communication bucket, look at in-person payments, you now have here an Affirm snippet. So if you were to put this into your little set of words here, we'll do our snippet. So you have your Affirm snippet. You can add it to your text if you would like to add it there, or your email, either way. But it's a great way to have patients sort of pre-qualify before they come into the door. They can go ahead and look at Affirm, figure out what it is. They want to go ahead and apply for it, get their Affirm account established. And when they come into your practice at the front desk, ask, hey, we've sent you a note about Affirm. Did you get it done? Have you looked into it? Do you want to do that? Whatever the case may be, whatever you want your front desk person to say, if they've already done the Affirm approval process or the pre-approval process, and they've got funds kind of in their account, quote unquote, even better for you. You know what you have to work with whenever they come into the practice for a consultation. So very simple here. I would definitely add it though to your communications because it's just nice for the patient to see that you have options. If it's a consult, you have options, not just come in with your cash or your debit card or your credit card. And by the way, I would be remiss to not mention, if you have a credit card, the interest rate for a credit card is what, 25% in some cases? Like, it's insanely expensive for many people. If you have like an Amex or one of those, bigger credit cards, this is, I have a feeling, Sarah, that it's much less for the patient than like 28% financing rates. I'm going to guess. And then for you as a practice, obviously it's very low too. So it's a great option for patients who don't want to use a credit card, who don't want to pay for it all up front today, but want to be able to kind of stretch this out over the course of time. So I'm a huge advocate of it. I think it's a great business place for you as a practice owner, but also for your patients to have a win-win as well. So the last part of this is it is live as of the 13th of August. So you will be able to access this for your patients, do all the things, get them ready to go for Affirm. I'm going to include at the bottom here, you'll see a QR code. You can scan that QR code and go to the articles that will show you how to get this set up, how to use your snippet, how to find your interest or your processing rate for this, how to find your reconciliation for this. So click on that QR code. It's an entire library of articles for you around Affirm. So if you have any questions or you're curious about it, you don't understand it, go there first. And if you don't know still, live chat us, send a note to your coach, a text to your onboarding specialist, whoever that may be that you're working with, will get you your answers for sure. But again, it's very straightforward. It's all through Stripe, same payout as Stripe schedule, same everything, no need for an additional account. If you have Affirm separately from AR, you can now turn hours on with what you're using instead. You can use this, hopefully for a lower rate, but it won't work if you're using an external Affirm account inside of AR. You have to use the one that's attached to your Stripe account. So it's one thing to note. If you have it like on Shopify or somewhere else, you can still keep using it there, but it won't be the one that you'll use inside of AR. So make sure that you use this one for your AR clients. And you'll want to, right? Because it connects back to your invoices, to your business insights. It just makes life a little bit easier. But you have it right now in your checkout, so you can just click the button and go ahead and get it done. So, Sarah, anything that you want to bring up on Q&A that you want us to know?
No, I don't think so, Tiffany. We love that you're the biggest Affirm fan, and we are so excited for your guys' clients and their consumers to get to utilize Affirm. So we're excited to launch everything.
Well, I am a big fan because I do think, obviously I run a business here. I know the struggle can be real, Sarah, with clients coming in wanting everything. And I think, not sure if you're getting injections, which I'm sure perhaps you are, but our big hot button for our industry is full face correction and getting the full treatment whenever you come in. The patients are happier, more satisfied. It's better for the practice as well, obviously. And this is how you get that accomplished. And so we're going into Q4, which all of us around here know that is like the hot time for all of our accounts. They're so busy with Christmas and with all the holidays. Back to school is just now upon us here in August. So for the next 3 months, it's going to be crazy, all of October, November, December. And then obviously even just kind of purgatory time we're in right now. But this is the hot time to get it going for your practice, because going into Q4 will be amazing if you have this turned on like a well-oiled machine in your practice. You want this to be ready to go, because I do think that Q4, if we look at the current industry trends, we're set up to have a big Q4 because we've had a soft summer. So hopefully we're going to have a big blowout Q4 for all of us, and this is a great way to get that done. So get it turned on. And we also would love to hear success stories too. So if you have a great success story, it's helped you in your practice, you're seeing some major increases as you go along and start using this, let us know that. We'd love to feature you on our Instagram and tell your case study or tell your story. So let us know, send us a note, because there are many successes to be gained, I think, here from Affirm, and we are glad to be able to offer it to you guys as of today. So get busy getting some Affirm. But anything else you want to leave us with, Sarah, how to get a hold of anyone from Affirm, or things that we think we should know on your end?
Yeah, of course. So all the guidance in terms of how to guide your customers to connect with Affirm, that will all be included in the QR code links. It's all in the help resources. And so everything should be good to go.
Yeah, it's easy, easy, easy. And I do think that as you look at this, one thing I would note on the Q&A is there are no hard credit checks, as you mentioned, but if they take out the actual loan, it is part of their credit. We do get asked that here quite a bit. To find out if they can get a loan, no. But if they actually take it out and do the next step, it does appear on their credit. So I think that's important to know, that it is like an actual loan with the bank, that you have to like repay the loan. But the good news is if they don't, you're not on the hook for it. So I do think that part of it is also you get paid up front. But I do want to make sure I mention that. We had a question about that even last week from a client. So beyond that, it's turned on, 5.1%. You can start using it today, and good luck out there. Get the QR code, go look at your articles, and make sure that you feel great about Affirm. If not, let us know. So with that, we'll sign off. We'll see you guys all next time. Bye, guys.